Hey, Cardinals fans, welcome to the Redbird Rundown. I'm Matt, joined today by Andy and Jonathan. Man, I wish this was on YouTube so you could see Andy's bro tank. And in this episode, we'll review our games since our last recording, discuss the state of the fandom. We were all there at Busch Stadium. There was some nice heckling. And take a look at Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman's runway length, whether or not the airplane, like in real life, have just been dropping out of the air and things are not good. P.S. Guys, I'm getting on an airplane in about 5 days.
Don't go to Newark, right? New Jersey.
No, I'm flying to Seattle, so hopefully the West Coast has still got their stuff going on. And we are going to end by highlighting what is coming up to watch for in the week ahead. But gentlemen, I feel like the calendar is very odd sometimes in that we are in the latter stages of May, and I am forever coded as a student and then now as a teacher that this is now quote unquote summer.
Yep.
But the calendar, and at least where we live, the weather would tell you this is not quite summer. So we need to discuss spring. Here's what I want to know. What is your least favorite thing about spring?
Bro Tank, you going first?
No, you can have it. I'll go last.
All right. So I just have to say number one is allergies. Just that sucks. It just does. It doesn't matter really where you live. But specifically back where we were last week in the Southern Illinois region, it just hits you with just like a cricket bat right in the back of the head. You just kind of have the headache, the eye-watering stuff going on. So that's like my shoe-in answer. Here's my what grinds my gears, the little pet peeve I have. I don't go out and get like a coffee or drinks very often, like at Starbucks, right?
Right.
Or one of those places. But as we were traveling through the airport or you just like drive around town, everyone advertises a lavender drink.
Oh,
why is that good?
Why are
why
we putting
is that
flowers in our drink?
I think they're trying to find the pumpkin of spring.
It's not. It doesn't exist. I look at that and I think like there are other things maybe I couldn't think off the top of my head that are like flower flavor related. Maybe I don't want to just go out and say there's none, but like when I think of lavender, I think of like laundry, not a drink.
Right. Well,
I don't know.
Here's a hot take for you.
Yeesh.
I think the same way about chocolate mint. I feel like I'm eating toothpaste.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah. So I know, but my wife loves it.
Separately, don't mix them. I like chocolate. I like mint. Not together. That's out.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thing. Lavender drinks. I just don't get it. Andy?
I, as a homeowner, dislike the amount of rain that we get in the spring, and then the trying to get out and do yard work, whether that's in a garden or clearing a path and landscaping or mowing or weed eating. It just turns into this it's like stressful. Like I don't know. It's like when you look outside and there's just stuff everywhere, there's like an internal thing inside me, a clock inside me that's just like, I've got to go take care of that. And then it seems like it always turns out that like the day that you could go do some yard work because of the weather, you can't because of your schedule. And that drives me nuts. I hate spring because of that. That's my least favorite part. So yeah, post school, like I have been going nonstop now that I'm out and just going out in the yard and working hours in the yard.
I'm gonna co-sign that and combine two of your answers into mine. Number one, the rain that we've gotten, especially this spring, is ridiculous. I have a spot in my yard that it now somewhat resembles the Amazon rainforest a little bit, not been touched. And so like I just can't get my lawnmower in there. I did go this morning and strapped on some like knee-high boots. So like the Loch Ness monster, that's like lurking in there just doesn't kill me. So that can be frustrating and it looks bad and like all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to say my least favorite thing about the spring is the schedule of events. Guys, I have been to more graduations, award ceremonies, weddings, rehearsal dinners, and I can't do another one. My birthday is in the middle of May, and Michelle's like, what do you want to do on your birthday? And I was like,
nothing.
Can we just get this day over so I can get the next day over so I can get the next day? It is such a crush of events. And I appreciate all the events. Like I'm talking about my own daughter's graduation and some of Andy's kids stuff. I appreciate them. I'm glad for their success, but my God, I can't go to another thing. I just can't.
Speaking of which, I got another one after we record this pod. So
me too. I have a wedding to go to today. So again, happy for him, I'm not going to rain on the parade like it does every single day in the spring, rain everywhere else. But
I was going to say that already happens. So
the crush of events is crazy.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen in the winter either. You know how like Thanksgiving and Christmas are kind of butt into each other, which is kind of a crime because they're both awesome.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like you're right, in the spring, it's like, why is this happening all at once? Right.
Oh man. Wow. All right. Well, happening all at once might be a good way to describe the St. Louis Cardinals because they are still ripping and rolling. Now, the last time that we recorded, they have only gone 2-2 since. That includes a game one win versus the AL and MLB leading at the time, Detroit Tigers. Game one, we were there.
Yep.
We watched Sonny warm up in the bullpen, and
Yep.
I knew this. He's just not a very big guy, but he looks
No.
like a complete psycho down there warming up in the bullpen.
Wide
He struck
eyes.
out, yes, he struck out a ton of Tigers. The offense produced before and after the rain for a big 11-4 win. We're obviously going to return to that game and just talk about some of our experiences there. Game 2 and 3 were both losses. They were both like close, although game 3 was less close. We lose to Scooball by a score of 5-4. There are no moral victories in baseball, but I didn't feel terrible about that one. We tagged him a little bit. Arenado hit a home run off of him. I felt like we were competitive against maybe the best pitcher going in baseball right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah, we
that
failed
one
to
didn't
collect
feel
our
bad.
ace, though, right?
Yeah.
We
that's
did not
true.
collect our ace. You're right.
We were close.
He's a
They
cut-
were competitive, more competitive than this next game.
Yeah, he's a cut above. We did fall in game 3, 5-1 loss. That is just a classic, like, third game of the series. It's during the day. I can't watch it. And I'm just somehow conditioned to look at my phone and be like, oh, okay, yep, we're going to lose this one. This one's going down. I feel like those games never go well somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have the same experience at all.
Yeah.
Well, I
This
think
is the. Go ahead, Andy.
I just feel like that they gave all of it, and then the rubber, like for the rubber match, like game,
Yeah,
like,
they were just flat.
they're just flat. Like they gave everything. And I know that's probably not true. But as a fan, as a casual fan, yeah, you want to kind of say that you're accustomed to that of just like, well, they gave everything in game 2, they lost, so game 3 is we're just gonna take this as a scheduled L.
This is the first game in a while I've seen. I watched the recap that nothing really happened. You know, nothing in the bullpen, no starter, no off. It was just kind of a bleh game. Nothing happened. So
last night on Apple TV, at least is when we were recording this on Saturday morning, those Apple TV 4K cameras just keep shouts to those things.
I can't. I'd pay so much money a year to just get every game in that quality. I really would.
It's really good. The announcing team, not 4K, but the cameras are. Michaelis twirls another gem. And at this point, I don't know if we're dealing with Miles Michaelis or Greg Maddux out there on the mound. It is very much a masterclass in location and off speed and movement. And I don't know where this has been the last 2 years, but man, we just got to ride it while it's hot. The offense was cold against, oh my gosh.
Gallen.
Yes, Zach Gallen. Thank you. Former Cardinal, Zach Gallen. Thanks a lot, Marcel Ozuna. For a while until they had a big 6th inning and Arenado busted the game open, put us up 4-1. Helsley came in, looked shaky, gave up a 2-run missile that landed to the left of Big Mac land. Like that thing got out of there fast. But we did win 4-3. And then we've got a game today coming up at a game on Sunday. So, gentlemen, it is vibe check time. Jonathan, let's start with you. 5 words or less.
Yeah, I'm going to use all 5 words this week. And
okay.
We're hanging with good teams. We're hanging with them. The Detroit series, I know we lost. But, you know, you got to remember we just came from Philly and Kansas City. We're hanging with these teams. You know, I don't know if I could tell you last year or the year before that I felt confident at all against any of these opponents. This year, I don't expect it to be an automatic series loss. So I feel good that we're hanging with these guys. Whether we win these series or not, we are playing competitive baseball with the best teams in the league.
Yeah. Andy, vibe check.
Cautiously pessimistic. It just like the casual people, like we went to my son's t-ball game last night and I heard some people talking about the Cardinals actually next to me, a group of like, I don't know, 7 or 8 people. So these are people at a t-ball game. So they're into sports somewhat, right? It's a sports family probably. And they were just kind of like, in the end, I could tell that they hadn't really been following much. So I would consider them a casual fan. And the group just kind of came up with, that's how they felt about the Cardinals right now. We keep talking about it. Matt keeps bringing it up. There's no capital G guy. Because there's that, unless you're following, and I could have butted my way in that conversation and given them a few people to look to. There's no name recognition on the team, and I was scared from that. From the, if you listen to our podcast early on, there's no one there. So people are like meh about the Cardinals still, regardless of the success they're having in this short period in late April, early May.
I think you're right. I also think that Ivan Herrera's Tinder profile is going to start getting swiped right on a whole lot more if he keeps hitting like this because boy's on fire. Like taking a little step down here, but still producing and on fire. I'm going to echo Andy again here. My vibe check is getting a little scared, and what I mean by that is I I also agree with Jonathan in that I have some expectations now, and that scares me because I told myself coming into the season,
There
I'm
is
not doing
yeah.
that. I'm not playing that game. I'm not doing the standings thing. But this pretty long now sustained run of success where it looks good and it looks like there's a pattern and a template here for how we could be a good team. I'm starting to get like kind of fall in love with it a little bit. And it's starting to scare me that I'm now thinking about this because I'm just conditioned from the last few years to wait for the other shoe to drop or the bottom to fall out or the snake to bite your ankle, whatever analogy you want to use. Like I just am worried that that is coming. So I'm starting to get a little bit scared.
Yeah, that's a reaction. I don't blame you for that really at all. I don't. I'm just trying to enjoy it because I
Yeah.
read a stat yesterday, and I keep talking about Michaelis on this podcast. I just have to say this: if you remove his Red Sox start, his ERA is 2.77 through 10 starts. That's
I
not a
know.
joke. That's not like an accident.
That's
Like a
Skeens is at
legitimate.
2.62, I think, or something like that.
And that's a third of the season.
Yeah, you said Greg Maddux. I'm like, who's Greg Maddux? Miles Michaelis. No, I can't. To your point, like when you kind of feel like when's the other shoe going to drop a little bit in the back of your head?
Yeah.
I get that feeling. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, because the track record, right? I mean, what has history proven the last couple of years? Exactly what the people talking to me at the T-ball game. Meh. They've been meh. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how you sum it up.
And Miles Michaelis, Benjamin Button, he ain't. He's not getting younger. So you just don't expect it to go in this fashion.
Right.
And I imagine that at least for Michaelis, there's another shoe to drop. Although I will not be rooting for that. I'm rooting for Miles to keep.
Which, real quick, that's kind of what the ESPN ran an article about real, not real. We kind of played that game.
Mm-hmm.
They called us not real. The Cardinals not real because of the lack of power. The TLDR is they didn't lack of power, and the contact pitching is going to bite them. And at some point, even with the best defense in the MLB. So that's what the ESPN thinks. We kind of played that game as well. So it kind of echoes what we're saying here is how long does apparently it doesn't last. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, those are real concerns. That's real stuff. Well, we also went as an entire family unit and laid our eyes on Busch Stadium in person, saw the game day experience, saw I would call it a plethora of red empty seats. We did some heckling. We went to the radar gun to see whose side would tear first to try to do all those things. So we just did this as fans, as a family. There are multiple kids there. And I think I can speak for you two probably when I say I had a great time. I enjoyed myself at Busch Stadium. Yeah. I love the Cardinals and I enjoyed it. But Jonathan, what was your top line takeaway? We'll probably have a few different ideas here. But what was your top line takeaway from being at Busch on Monday night?
I'd say the first initial one for me is that the low attendance was kind of shocking to see. It's been a few years since I've been just locationally where I am now, and last time I went, it was not 25,000. That's how many were there at that game. I checked.
Yeah, no,
25,000.
Yeah, so, that's something they sold.
Yeah, well, exactly. So in the stadium, who knows if it was less than that, but that is shocking to see because it's just kind of a hushed experience. As you're sitting there, there's not like the ambient crowd noise, which is just roar. Sort of what you assume is going to happen. Now, I will say, I kind of liked it when walking around the concourse and there was nobody there. It was nice. There was no wait for literally anything, right? Bathrooms or if you want to get a drink, anything, nothing, right? That was kind of interesting. From the game day experience, I know you said that at the top there. I know we had mentioned we sat in the outfield, so we couldn't really see the scoreboard behind us as clearly, and you kind of have to crane your neck around. But I thought it was cool they were including the more advanced, like induced vertical brake and some of the other stuff up there on the board. That may go over some people's heads, but I appreciated that. I thought that was pretty interesting to watch. Yeah. But I just have to say that the low attendance was pretty shocking to see in person.
Yeah, Andy, stay on that. What did you think about the attendance, or what was going through your head?
I mean, first of all, I thought if it was just the three of us, we could have probably walked around and got into section 100 or something. Like, pretty easy.
For sure. Yeah. Bryn had to truck 18 people in there like the children of Israel coming out of Egypt. Yeah.
Right. Because that group of fans, I keep coming back to them. They were talking about going and like to a game, and they landed on they weren't going to, but like it wasn't going to be worth it, basically, is what they were discussing. And so I think that minor micro level conversation is happening on a very larger scale after we showed up, and we have seen it in the telecasts. You can just look. The field looks empty around. The seats are empty rather. When we were there in person, I think a lot of people are having that kind of discussion of, nah, it's not worth it. It'd be all right. So something's got to change. We're going to be looking at some Louisville Cardinals, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I want to put a pin in that discussion because I think that the attendance numbers are like essential and monumental to the franchise going forward. But I do think we should hit a couple other things before we return to that much larger theme. As far as the game day experience goes, from what I saw, it seemed fine to me. I will say, like I don't know if the graphic design team was on their complete A game this year. I thought that some of the just a real ticky tack stuff, but I thought some of the stuff on the video boards looked like you were golfing at the Masters, just some of the color schemes and the stuff. And I was like, I don't know if this is like a Cardinals vibe to some of these things.
Yeah.
My older daughter we have been, as you know, from listening to this podcast, we've been to quite a few stadiums, and my older daughter has taken to kind of like giving an aura rating to the intro video for the teams, before they're ready to run out in the top of the first. She says the Minnesota Twins just buried our intro video. Theirs is way cooler than ours. Wow. And so I don't know if as far as the 13-year-old girl category goes, the Cardinals need to step it up as far as that is concerned. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I mean, Busch Stadium is very nice. The stadium is clean. It feels safe walking to and from your car in downtown St. Louis. I felt perfectly fine the whole way. So as far as that goes, can you have a good night when you go to the stadium? I absolutely think you can. And we did, together all as a unit. So,
and everybody that I talked to, that I had told him go to the Cardinals game, they're like, hey, how was it? And several of them are parents of younger children. I was like, oh, it was good. I kind of held my kids off. I knew that there's that play area in center field back behind there.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, what? So they'd had no idea. There's like, I don't know, a dozen people that had literally zero idea that there was something for smaller kids to go do in that play area. Which, you guys, someone's got to watch the kids, obviously. So you're watching the game off of a TV screen while the kids play it, but there is something, if someone gets restless, you can at least make it through something, to get up and go do something. Yeah.
Well, one of the opportunities that having fewer fans there affords is a little bit easier interactions with players.
Oh, yeah.
And before Riley Green just tore our team apart in Game 3 and did everything for the Tigers, we had the opportunity. We're sitting pretty close to Riley Green, the center fielder for the Detroit Tigers, and there were batters where he would shade over to the right field, but he's probably, I don't know, 50 or 75 feet away from us, not very far at all. So Andy, shouts to him. He comes to this locked and loaded with some nice heckles. Yeah. So Andy, we need to get a few examples of stuff we were yelling at him.
Let's see. Well, the first thing we yelled at, so there was no. I'm not a fan of like just dogging a person for no reason.
Bringing your mom into it.
I mean, that dude, he doesn't have the ability to say anything back other than his play. Right. Yeah. But so he's standing out there and is just got to take whatever is thrown at him. So we're being wholesome stuff like, hey, Riley, bet you sleep with your socks on, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or Matt, you came up with a good one. I liked yours.
I hit him with the, hey, Riley, you own 2 cats or 3. And God, I wish, because here's the thing. He started kind of like laughing and nodding his head, shaking his head stuff, like he could hear it and he was responding to it. I wish so bad he would have flashed up like a 2 or a 3 on the cat question.
I know.
Yeah. I know. Well, you got, and the one you got in trouble for, we had to.
Is that when they yelled at me?
No, not the 2 to 3 cats. It was the
the taxes. He told me to stop yelling at him. I told him, I said he looked like he filed his taxes on time, which is nothing short of a compliment. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, the guy has bank accounts that don't look like ours. I'm sure there's accountants involved. It's not a 1040 easy form on TurboTax that the guy's doing.
Yeah. So we had a Cardinal staff member tell us to stop, and I thought about it an inning later. We really should have told him, bet you filed for extension on those taxes, bub. Bet you didn't like that heckle.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the stadium staffer guy gave me big like teacher's aide vibe. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
like the
yeah,
teacher's
yeah,
turned around and you're
yeah.
like talking, you're like, and they just look at you like, hey, shut up. And it's like,
He's
Yep.
been given like temporary power that he needs to go and exercise. And
yes.
yeah.
This is
I'm
my
sure he was
domain.
doing his job, but I was like, come on. I mean, the player seems to be responding to it, liking it. Just let it have fun at the ballpark a little bit. But they did come and rain our parade. So
They
Well,
did
I
a
just
little
thought the
bit.
only thing that my kids, I thought in the middle of it, first of all, I thought maybe we're gonna be able to get a ball for my youngest son. Brought his
Vic,
yeah,
glove
huh?
out there,
yeah.
but just wasn't in the right spot, and that's fine. But what was funny is that going through, he obviously has no conception of what a professional baseball game is going to be about. So we went, like Matt said at the top, we went and watched Sonny warm up, and some things were happening, and then after every single time, like we're trying to like lift him up to get him a ball and stuff like that. He just looked at me. He's like, "All right, what's next?" Like it was like a checklist of things. Like we got to do these things.
Yeah.
What's next, Dad?
Yeah.
That's really funny. I did want to say one more thing, Matt. I
Yeah,
think
sure.
it just hit me and it dawned on me. I think this is the first game I've ever been in person with the pitch clock.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. And I
Not
thought,
true.
yeah, I thought because that got implemented in 2023. I had not gone to a game since probably 2022. So I thought it was much quicker. I really did. Because I remember sitting there in about the fifth inning, and my internal clock was like, oh, maybe I'll go get something. I'm like, wait, it's the fifth inning already? Where, maybe before it's, top of the fourth or the bottom of the third or something. I guess I could tell in hindsight, it felt quicker. It really did.
It helped that the Tigers weren't doing anything at all on offense.
Well,
But you are
Sonny
right.
was mowing him down. Yeah,
The
you're right.
whole thing was quicker, and that is true.
Yeah.
So
But real quick, the
yeah.
thing going to that, I did like the advanced metrics. Something to tie into that is I wish that, because when even us who know a few of those, I know a few acronyms, you guys know them all. If they would give like compared to league average or something to be comparative to that, where the average person could look at that and they don't know what negative 7.5 inches of induced break may be, but they can look at it and be like, top 75% or something, like, hey, that was a good pitch.
Cardinals media team, take notes here.
Yeah, like it, like maybe highlight that board in red, yellow, or green, depending on where they're at. Just something like that. Just someone, an average person, be like, "Oh, that was a good pitch. I don't know why it was a good pitch, but they say it was a good pitch."
But it was green.
Yeah, it was green. Exactly. Oh, it was a green pitch up there, not a yellow.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking around at this. Basically, what is a cathedral for baseball? And I was like, man, these seats are so empty, and I've seen it on broadcast, and it was striking to me that this frustration from this fan base about the deterioration of the competitiveness of this franchise and this team, and that really, if you get right down to it, the mismanagement of what they had going is potentially going to lead to the deterioration of this franchise's ability to spend money in the future. And I really was sitting out there in the bleachers, and I was thinking about things we had discussed, like Mason Wynn might need $200 million. And what if Herrera keeps hitting? And I'm like, gosh, I'm looking around at all these empty seats. Just how concerned are you guys about that? And I'm not dogging the fans for not going. That's not the purpose of this conversation. I'm just saying, like, this is a thing that is happening that we can all see, and this is going to have ramifications in the future. How concerned are you guys?
I'll tell you this. Andy, do you have something real quick?
Well, there's that infographic
ahead.
that I shared with you guys that Jonathan, you'd seen on Reddit before floating around. And I think that, and listener, what it was a breakdown of total revenue of a team and then the total expenditure,
the amount that they're spending. Yeah.
Spending. So, and then they made a percentage. So easy math. Let's say that they brought in $100 million and they spent 50 million. Then would be 50%. The Cardinals are somewhere in like the high 30s, I think 39.
They're in the
low
lower
40s.
Range of the MLB.
Yeah,
There's lots of teams spending a higher percentage.
So that gives me hope that there's a little bit of buffer. So this is like obviously knee-jerk reaction. You want to be scared, like nervous, not scared, but like, I don't know. But what that gives me hope is that the ownership group it would be more willing to be more aggressive and spend kind of like what even the Dodgers, like the top teams in that infographic were like Dodgers, Yankees, stuff like that, where, they take in a lot of money, but they also spend a ton of money. And we've talked about on the pod, they're going to have to spend, there's going to have to be less, I don't know, milking the cash cow from the ownership standpoint. And they're going to have to invest more of what they're taking because it may decrease how much money they're bringing.
Jonathan, do we trust the DeWitts to do that?
I don't. I would normally say absolutely not, but they have invested in the minor leagues quite a bit. So I am gonna give them credit for that. But to your point, Matt, historically, you would not feel really great about saying, banking that they're going to spend some money. I've been thinking about this question as a whole for a few days, and I think that if we're going to see actual ramifications to the team, this 20,000, 25,000 attendance every game would have to happen for multiple years.
Okay.
Because if you look back at 2023, so like to 2022 offseason, we were in the playoffs. We lost to the Phillies. No one saw the 2023 collapse. We generated over 3 million fans in the ballpark in 2023. In 2024, it was 2.87 million, which is a tick down from that. And now this year is going to be a tick down from that. Well, why is that happening? I was reading that the younger DeWitt, I think that's DeWitt 2. Is that him?
I think it's the third.
Three. Yeah. I'm sorry, 3.
The
he
triple
said
pack.
Yeah, triple pack. He said that 70% of ticket sales happen at the beginning of the year, before the year ever starts. So really messaging the team throughout the offseason has a big impact on what happens with ticket sales. So the start to the season doesn't surprise me to see now, thinking about it from that perspective, because we spent nothing in the offseason. They tried to trade Nolan. There was no positive message about this team. We're going to let the kids play and see what happens. Well, the kids have really proved us wrong up to this point, but I don't think the ticket sales are going to match or going to increase to that. Now, if they'd have a good year this year, right, or pretty good, and Heim takes over and there's some, grumblings in the offseason that we're going to do something, I expect to see this change. I don't expect to see this to be a trend. I think that this is just an issue that has happened with this quick downturn we've done in the messaging of the team. Does that make sense, though?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does. I just looked around, and it was a level of concern for me that because we do have some exciting young players, that I had considered it, but seeing it in front of my eyes kind of put it in a stark contrast that I wasn't expecting to be thinking and feeling about. Well, speaking of some young guys, though, we are going to talk about the Runways, as this is the Runway season for a couple of the baby birds, Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman. And just where are they at? How long is their runway? We're just like kind of maybe surprisingly competitive. Is there space to be dragging 2 dead carcasses along in a lineup if we're going to be winning games? Just these kinds of things. I think we should start with the more hopeful case, at least is the way I see it, and start with Jordan Walker. Yep. So, Jonathan, let me pose this question to you first. How long is Walker's runway?
It is. I think it's around the world 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
It's as long as possible. His upside is so high, and I know we don't want to talk about Gorman quite yet, but it's much higher than his.
Sure.
Walker has proven over the last 3 years he can be a plus defender, right?
That's a huge area of growth for him.
That's what I'm saying.
They are putting him in late in games, even when he's not starting with the bat. He's part of the hands team now, which is insane.
Insane. You're absolutely right. He's just got to figure out the bat. That's it. He needs reps to do it. He's still very young. This is going on his 3rd major league season. And really, it's kind of 2.5 because he spent a ton of time in AAA last year, right? And even in 2023, he was down in AAA for a time. He just has to figure out the bat. That's it. His defense being a plus like that is just kind of came out of nowhere. And that's even more adds to the runway that he just needs to figure out offensively. Is that what you think, Matt, as well?
I do, but Andy, I was going to let you jump in here. What do you think about Walker's runway?
Well, I would like to say, first of all, the pod nailed the 4-5-6 lineup from Sunday into the next literally the game we went to, where Matt literally called all of us individually. Was like, "You see the lineup?" I was like, "No."
Look, if you want to know what Ollie's going to do, just listen to the Redbird Rundown podcast. I don't know what to
tell you. So, props to us for that, right? That we saw some of that happening. No inside information there at all. So your knee jerk is like, is there actually, Jonathan, is there actually a stat line in which you're like, okay, Jordan Walker, like, what if he goes 091? You know what I mean? Like, is there a bottom where you're like, I don't know how much I can tolerate watching this anymore?
Yeah. I think it's whenever he becomes like crushed and defeated, you need to give him an environment that's a little less eyeballs. But I think you just keep running him out there because he doesn't need to learn how to lay off pitches in AAA. He needs to learn it here where these guys are game planning against him and he's not seeing these fastballs down the middle.
And so that's going to be a tough thing from a, casual fan point of view, someone who's not on the pulse of the Cardinals roster. And hear the people say, "Hey, we just need to give this guy a chance. Like this is his prove it year." They're gonna see this guy and be like, "What are the Cardinals doing?"
Mhm.
This is gonna be these two guys are gonna be that. If I mean, I agree. I'm in here. I'm in it for the whole thing. I don't even care if like my answer to the next one is gonna be the same as this one. Let them. Just let them. Just let them burn. Let them burn. I don't know. Like it's what this year was, and I am personally gonna stand by that. Let's just see
Yeah.
if they're bad. Let's see it the whole year how bad they are.
Yeah, I think that Jordan Walker looks like those videos you see of a deer being born and then try to stand up and walk around for the first time. And he's just wobbling and he's hobbling. And it's like this as a guy who, I mean, we're talking about not just success, but an elite level of success where he's just now turning 23 years old. This guy's, if his whole life was the youngest and the best to do everything that he's ever done. And now to get to a level where he's had consistent struggles with something specific, it's just very interesting to watch him. And I just think he's the little fawn in the woods trying to find his legs. I will say, and this may just be because we have this like precious Fabergé egg and we want it to work so bad that when Jordan Walker hits a home run, we're like, oh my God, super overreact to it. Or he hit a missile of a double in the game that we went to, just that ricocheted off the wall, and he's talking about softening his hands, and you're like, oh my God, he's going to figure it out. Oh my God, he's going to figure it out because the upside is Herrera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Herrera is producing in the way that Walker could. In fact, Walker hits the ball harder and swings harder than Herrera, so the ceiling to me is even higher than what Herrera is capable of doing. Jordan Walker's entire career is going to come down to, can he figure out what to do with a slider or can he not? Because I looked at his Fangraph stuff. He is getting decimated on sliders. And I'll tell you this real quick. In 2023, he was positive against sliders. So it's in there, right? And I think, again, this is just him, fawning around in the woods. And if he doesn't figure out the slider, his career is over. But if he figures it out, he still has star potential. I think let him see all the sliders.
Yeah.
Because last point, there's nobody in the outfield pushing him. You could put Donovan out there. You could do that, but there's nobody in the minors batting down the doors like there is on the infield for Gorman.
Yep. And I think there's not been a prospect that we have drafted this high that has had this high of a potential ceiling. I'm looking at Dylan Carlson. I'm looking at, now we got him via trade, but Tyler O'Neill. I'm looking at some of these offensive guys like Newt and Yvonne and Donnie. They kind of came out of nowhere. We drafted him high. He has this high ceiling. We have to let it ride with him, like unequivocally just let it ride because of that potential.
Because I think the conversation needs to be on the flip side is what happens if we let him go and he goes somewhere else and turns into like this God mode of there. He's the Yvonne for someone else. And everyone's just like, why did we let him go?
Yeah. Or he's Aaron Judge.
Right.
That's the upside, legitimately. And I think on this, we just have to trust the guru. We've seen his stuff work all up and down this offense. Now, not with Gorman, but we have seen it. And so I'm going to just continue to trust that the guru is going to keep preaching the right things. And maybe Walker's slower on the uptick, and this is just harder for him. But again, there's nobody pushing him in the outfield. This runway I can't see the horizon line for Walker.
Safe. Yeah.
I can for Gorman. Much like the planet in the Andor Star Wars TV series, I believe that we are coming to the end of the run for Gorman the planet and Nolan the player.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, let me have you go first this time. How long is the runway for Nolan?
About as long as his average exit velocity right now.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Okay, what is it?
Hit us with those metrics.
It's 87 is the average exit velocity, and it is in the very poor range on StatCast. Not great. Not where you want to be. So
not for a power hitter with limited contact skills.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got people in the, like you just outlined with Jordan Walker. There are people beating down the door to get into the MLB, the professional level, inside our farm system in the infield. And I mean, if we're the Cardinals managers again, like if we're trying to do the 4-5-6, ride and die on Jordan Walker, okay? Because there's nobody pushing, like you said. There's no reason to, okay? Carry one dead carcass through the lineup, okay? This one, there are people. Thomas the Italian came and produced in the major leagues. let's make room for him by Nolan.
Yeah. Jonathan, is the plane off the tracks? Like, are we already in the grass?
No, I think the runway is the end of the season.
Okay.
When I say runway, I mean like
in a full-time capacity
and on this team.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I think. Because here's where I'm going to sit. I did a bunch of research into various players from Aaron Judge to Julio Rodriguez, and the sweet spot is around 1,500 plate appearances.
Okay.
That's when you know somebody is that's like 3.5 years, 4 years. You know somebody's legitimate or not. He is around 1,100 plate appearances. He could squeak out 400 or so this season and be right around 1,500. Now, those plate appearances need to be consistent. What you saw last night when he was up there flailing at these pitches, he looks totally lost. And I feel for him because that has got to be the hardest position in all of baseball to come in and to play once every 4 days and see 99.
The dude's throwing 101. Yes, exactly.
It's extremely difficult. Now, what you guys said at the beginning about, his only tool is the power, right? And Andy, you highlighted it with exit velocity, it's low. And Matt, you highlighted it with contact is low. That is his one and only thing, which is a complete contrast to Walker, who has 3 or 4 things where you're like, well, if 1 or 2 of those things pop, he can sit around.
Yeah.
So Andy, to your point about Thomas the Italian, so JC, I was just curious to look at them, how they compared in the minor leagues. And this is actually pretty fascinating. I took Gorman's best season and Sajayce's best season. And it happened to be when they played half the season in AA and half the season in AAA, when they made that jump. So Gorman batted 279, 333, 481. He had 25 home runs and 75 RBIs. That's 523 plate appearances between AA and AAA. Sajayce's best season, 630 plate appearances, batted 306, 374, 530, 26 home runs, and 111 RBIs. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Thomas Sajayce has the power that Gorman has, but I'm here to say that Sajayce is a better defender. And I'm here to say that he can give you 80% of the power, and he has a much, much higher contact rate. Now, major league stuff this year, Sajayce was up here for just, a half a cup of coffee. Maybe he got a refill, right? Gorman's at-bats have been very inconsistent. So all of that analysis really comes back to, I got to see what Gorman can do this year. That's it. Sajayce's not going to be hurting if he sits down there one more year in AAA. I need to see it with Gorman. If he does not put anything together or show any signs of life by the end of the year, we have got to move on from him, because this cannot be 5-6 years of seeing this with him. You got to cut bait and move on to somebody else like Thomas the Italian or JJ, somebody like that.
I think it's over already. I think barring injury, Nolan Gorman will never be an everyday player for the St. Louis Cardinals ever again. And here's why. Herrera hits. He's got to have DH at bats. Burley started the year off horrendously bad, like Gorman did. But, well, actually, Gorman started great and then fell off. Burley has turned it around, to give some props to Burley. I think Burley's a better hitter than Gorman. Gorman just doesn't do it, right? And what's so weird to me is I looked under the hood at Gorman, too, and some of this stuff surprised me a little bit. His K rate is down. Mm-hmm. His walk rate is up. So some of these things that he's focusing on, he's doing right. He is just, that exit velocity is so low compared to what is normal for him, that his batting average on balls in play, BABIP, is 80 points under where it has been for his average. And so that's either A, he's hitting into some bad luck, which there might be some of that. But B, I think what we're seeing is this guy's just not tattooing the ball anymore.
Yeah.
And again, this game is a game of adjustments, and some guys can make them and some guys can't make them. And the problem for Nolan Gorman is he's run out of space because other guys have made the adjustments, and there's not space for him to sit there and try to adjust anymore. And there's guys, like we said, there's Sajayce, there's Weatherholt, and those guys can both play more positions than Gorman can. I think Gorman's time is up. And again, unless somebody gets injured and he produces, I think it's over, and I'm okay with it being over. And I'm okay if we move on from him and some other team figures him out and he hits 36 home runs. I'm really not going to feel too bad about that.
That was going to be my point to kind of cap this off for myself, was if we cut bait on him and he goes and succeeds somewhere else, I'm okay with that. We tried, we did it, and I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how Ollie plays it. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they can smooth the runway. We'll see if there's a giant boulder, and we'll just see. We'll just continue to track and see what happens. That's where we are at on both of those guys in the coming week here. Now, granted, we've got 2 more games against the Diamondbacks here, but next week when most of you will be listening to this on Sunday into Monday. They've got series against at the Orioles and at the Rangers. The Orioles have been unbelievably disappointing.
Yep.
And so I'm just wondering if there's anything specific you guys are going to be looking for in the next week of games. Jonathan, we'll start with you.
I have two. Number one is I just think kind of forever is Walker's plate approach. I feel like I could say it we just talked about it, but I could say it every week. What's he going to do? Is he going to feast on these fastballs? Is he still going to look horrible on these sliders? I just want to keep watching him to see if I notice anything that makes me feel a twinge better about him at the plate.
Yeah.
He should have a better chance against the Orioles. Their starters are horrendous. They're really bad. The Rangers have a couple of good ones, but I'm curious in the Orioles series. And then the last one I'm looking for in both series is, can the starters keep doing this?
Yeah.
Black magic stuff they're doing to keep it going. Is Michaelis going to have an under 3 ERA sitting in June and maybe be on the All-Star team? Because I tell you what, that would be insane.
Wild.
But those are the two things I'm looking for.
Andy, what are you looking for?
We do have their best, quote unquote, the Orioles. We do have their best pitcher going up against Palante in the second game. So the rubber match potentially. So just I'm
Who is that?
Sugoino. I don't know how to pronounce that last name.
Okay.
Sugano.
Yeah.
It's I believe he is from Japan. Yes, he is.
Okay.
So he is their best pitcher. So I would like to see if we can collect him or not. If Palante gives us I do want to point out something. I was reading the Tigers recap of the game that we went to. And we left because there was a rain delay in the seventh, and we left before that. And so I was trying to see if the game would resume. And some of the Tigers beat writers were writing about the fact that they were going to see Fetty maybe the next day or the day after. And they were talking about him. The beat writers were talking about Fetty being a trade, like they might go after him at the trade break.
Yeah.
So I know he's also pitching on Monday. Fetty is. So I'm interested to see what we do against their best. The Orioles are the huge articles right now online of like how disappointing they are. So that is the one bright spot in their pitching rotation, and we face them, of course. So I'll be interested in seeing that game.
I'm looking for something bigger. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be tracking all this, the starters, Walker, all the things that are important to this team. But I'm thinking about like franchise building, in which you can do it through your farm system like the Orioles and augment some, or you can basically buy guys as the Rangers, and just not necessarily thinking about the path for the Cardinals, because the Cardinals have stated there's only one path. It's always the Orioles and never the Rangers. But just thinking about what we do and thinking about as these young guys progress, how are we going to add to this core? Could we get a power bat? Do we have to? Right. Just thinking about the contrast in franchise building styles. I find all that stuff kind of interesting. Makes me want to go, fire up MLB The Show and see if I can get a power bat in some kind of trade or something. But as always, we do want to thank you for joining us. We look forward every week to doing this and look forward to having you guys listen to us. Any feedback that you want to give is awesome. Thank you for tuning in to the Redbird Rundown, your go-to source for St. Louis Cardinals news. Subscribe, rate, and review to help us grow the show. You can find us on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Facebook for all the latest news. Keep your rally caps on, and let's go on.
No more lavender. No more lavender.